right, I think I'm going to get started here. I'm going to be talking about bonding porcelain to honeycomb and to some backup systems and foam boards. Just to give it, anytime you're bonding porcelain, you want to have full coverage. There's a lot of thin sets out on the market, a lot of epoxy systems. I'm going to be showing you the T2000. It's a 100% solids, water cleanup epoxy, and it's got a little bit of flux in it for any kind of movement you have, but it's not going to give your tile. It's just if there's any substrates that have a little bit of flux in it, it's going to be able to absorb it. We do have another one that's got a little bit more flex for like elevator walls when you're doing thin panels. But this system works great for interior and exterior, working anything to do with fiberglass, backer board, wood, and a lot of the staircases, any kind of steel, it's just got to be abraded, and any kind of aluminum, and aluminum honeycomb is used a lot. So the applications for this is it's a setting bed. You can do wainscoting exterior on a building if you want with your stone. So it's exterior grade, it's going to hold up exterior as well. But the beauty of it is it's pretty versatile, and as far as the mix ratio as well. Anywhere from a 3-to-1 to a 2-to-1 by weight or volume. You're going to be pretty safe with your bonding. So what I'm going to show here, we package it in a gallon kit, and we're going to be developing some larger kits as well. But in part B, so you can carry this to the job site. Part B is in a tray. Part A is in the bottom. So it's a gallon kit. Roughly out of a gallon kit at about I'm going to be showing about an 1/8 inch V-notch. You get about 100 square feet, anywhere from 90 to 100 square feet. But this can be mixed by hand. I'm just going to be doing it by hand, but you can use a low speed drill. When mixing it, just get this all into the part A and just whip it up for about 45 seconds. And then you can throw your blade into some water and clean it later. But it's a very versatile product to give it. So, well, if you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, let me know. Generally, it's a real thick product in temperatures like you're seeing right now. So it looks really thick. You can see it almost like like a wax ring around the toilet. But so if it's really thick like this, just cut it in squares, and then you can pull it out and do your. If you're going to do it by hand, you do your mixing that way. But you're going to see in really warm temperatures, if this is sitting in the back of your truck, it's going to liquefy slightly. So that's when we have a third part. It's called our T100 thickener. You can add it right into the mix to thicken it up and keep it, nice and soluble for doing wall applications as well. So if you're mixing this at the job site or in your shop, you can mix it on a piece of stone, or if you're at a job site, you can put it on a piece of plexiglass, any kind of board. But if you get it on your substrate and it's after 2 hours, you're not going to be able to move it. You got about an hour and a half open time with it. Open time meaning that once you mix it, you can sit there in a bucket, trowel it on, and move around. You got about an hour and a half. This will not heat up like most epoxies, where in a mass it's going to start cooking. If you leave it in a mass, it's not going to do that. So as you can see, these two products are pretty thick. If you're working with some uneven surfaces and you're trying to level it out, you can do up to about 1/4 inch notch trowel, 1/2 inch. You're probably going to want to throw some shims in there with it to support it if the wall's uneven. Or glue another piece of stone to the back of it. So obviously in hotter conditions, this is gonna flow out a little bit. But as you can see here, I'm at about a 2-to-1 right now, or a 3-to-1 right in between there. So it looks pretty thick, but once you mix the two together, it's gonna get a little creamier for you. So generally what I'll do, the problem with a lot of epoxies guys use is they'll just mix it in the middle, and the outside stuff is not mixed up. And if they still have to grab from it, that's going to be a soft material anytime you're using an unmixed material. And then when you get into some of the creamier products, some of the thin sets, what you're doing is whipping a lot of air into it, and that's where you get some hollow areas if you're mixing a lot of air in those different products. This is just generally, you can see it, the color's changing to one solid color. But you want to mix it for, when you're mixing it like this, you want to mix it for about a minute or so. This is a piece of porcelain I glued up yesterday. As you can see, the 1/8 inch trowel lines on it. This is all you really need for real tight substrates. Now this will bond to most plastics if they're abraded. If you're gluing it to something, if you want to put something down underneath it, you don't want it to bond to it. If you got any squeeze out at all, you can use wax paper, or you can use packing tape on some wood. It's not going to stick to that. Now there are, we do have some customers using this to do some water jet medallions where they'll piece them all together, because this gets you a nice tan color. So what they'll do is they'll apply this and they'll get a lot of squeeze out with it, and they'll take warm water. They'll get like a nice tight 16th inch with it, get some warm water, and they'll clean it up, and it's a nice joint for them, a nice neutral joint that matches all the different colors. All right. If you do get this on the surfaces, you want to clean it up with Scotch-Brite pad and hot water right away. Once it's cured, it's going to be really hard to get it off. if you're working with any, like I said, substrates that are plastics or metals, or as you see here, we got little fiberglass aluminum honeycomb, or just honeycomb, I should say. You're going to want to slightly abrade with 80 grit, just to break the surface. If there's any release agents that were used on the molds for making those. Now, I'm not an expert tile setter, but I've helped out a lot of guys doing this stuff. They do have vibrating sheets to get this a little lower if you need to, but it's got such great tack, you're not going to have that issue like you have with thin sets. As long as you have enough material there to grab both sides, if they're pretty flat, it should be fine.
Can you use that with granite?
What's it?
Can you use with granite?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about quartz?
Quartz? Yeah. So, that's one application. Here's the metal I'm talking about. It's really flexible. You can't really put a thin set on here. You need some kind of epoxy system that's got a lot of it to give to it. This is for like elevators, so if you're moving stuff, you want to be able to absorb some of the movement. Yes. You got about 8% elongation to it, and then our F has 14. Anytime you get any higher than that, you're going to have some issues with, some kind of substrate issue. If you have a rigid material like this, it's awesome for a substrate that's going to have slight movement to it. But I mean, if you're working with, some expansion joint areas and it's going over that, you're going to want a more flexible system.
It's bottom of the set, right?
Yeah. What's that? Yeah, that's good. Here, hold it behind you there. So what I'm going to be showing here now is our another application. Now this, you can still use our T2000. Where is it?
Behind the silver panel.
Where's
behind the panel? Silver one. It's behind the metal one.
over here? No, I don't. Who's that? Oh, I didn't really. Okay, so you want to show this one? This one's bonded with our Invisibond. So it's a flowing system. If you're doing big sheets, it makes it more sense to have a flowing system to pour it out, squeegee it, and then back roll it if needed. So this is a 2-to-1 mix. This will set up a little faster, probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but it's a real flowing system. So I'm just going to show you. The A's a little thicker right now because it's colder. Now this system, if you're working indoors inside a house or in a shop area, the mass will heat up and start smoking. So you're going to want to, after you're done, you're going to want to spread it out so it's not going to have that chemical reaction where it's going to start smoking on you. And the reason why we're using a thin and then our T2000 is because when you're making a thin bond, you want some light to transfer through it. So you have a backlit system for any of these unique countertops that you guys are working with, doing backlit systems. Now, an easy way to reuse these cups is to mix a little bit more, put it back in this cup, let it cure up around the sides, and you can snap it off and reuse it, especially some of the more flexible cups. So you want to just mix it up for 30 to 45 seconds. So with this particular stone, after cutting it, if you have any dust or sludge on it, you're going to want to acetone it, denature alcohol with a rag, just to get the pores opened up. And same as the honeycomb, you're going to want to slightly sand it with 80 grit, and then obviously get the dust off. Your worst, what you're working against is the dust factor with a lot of epoxies. Dust is not good, it just rolls it, doesn't get into the pores. So if you're doing a piece, I didn't come too prepared here with that, but any kind of drip out you got with it, you want to tape the edges or have some wax paper on the sides of it so you don't glue to the other substrate it's down to. So there's different ways to apply this. You know, some guys just want to trowel it out like this. But if you've ever done epoxy floors, you want to make even. You don't want it pooling in one corner, especially if you're doing a big sheet of it. So get your squeegee or a straight edge. So on small pieces, you can probably get away with just using you know, a big putty knife or a straight edge like this.
How many mils thick?
Well, you want to, you can get, it's really, you put it down at like a 16th inch. That's generally what I do. And then, so if you are going to roll it and you're doing a big area, and this will liquefy too in high heat, you want to get a foam roller, just like doing some of the epoxy floors and coats. You don't want to use a nap roller. If you do, just duct tape it, pull it off, get all the hairs out of it, so it's nice and tight. But this is great. This is great because it evens it out. So I'm talking if you're doing a big slab like this. This is why it works really great doing that. So this, you want to just apply pressure. If you're putting a lot of resin on, it's going to float on you. So you're going to have to brace it, tape it up. It's just the epoxy, even how heavy your piece is, if you put a piece of stone on, it's going to float. We've done 4 foot by 8 foot limestone and put a layer of epoxy in it that's on another stone, and the whole thing will move. Just from the weight of it and the epoxy floating. So you want to make sure you got good grab on there. And that's pretty much it. You guys have any questions? Oh.
Booth is Bonstone.
What's that?
The booth is Bonstone. Booth is Bonstone.
What booth? Oh, what booth? 5569. If you have any more questions, we got some more stuff glued up. But yeah, this is just working. You know, we work with a lot of unique applications and stuff like that. So any substrates. And I always recommend, if you're not familiar doing it, just test it out yourself. You want to get a piece of stone, overlap your honeycomb, glue it up, and try peeling it off, and do your test yourself. Make sure you got good bond to it, because once it's in place, it's a little hard to fix.
That particular honeycomb doesn't require the same. So
What's
it's
up?
fiberglass, just a white.
Okay. You just said that this fiberglass just needs a white, doesn't need any sanding at all. So.
Depends on the kind.
Okay. So, do you have a light or a phone? I wanted to show that translucency to it. So, obviously there's different thicknesses, having light come through it, but what you're trying to avoid is having the spotting of anchors or the resin. Well, you have that piece that was glued up. So, as you can see, you can get some light transferring through. Now this is just a minor light, but there's a lot of backlit systems. I think the Fusco has one here that they work with, but this just shows you that it's going to go through the resin itself. So. All right, if there's no more questions, that's it. Thanks.